It makes us feel like I have no care in the world.
I feel free as a bird. It's like I could express my feelings and my emotions through dance, and it makes me happy as well.
So I just chose dance, and I danced every night of the week. And every weekend there was either a competition or a show.
Dance gives people a chance to express themselves in a way that they often can't through words, and that to me is, yeah, priceless.
I think when I dance, I'm happy and I think I'm getting more confident.
It's great. It's lovely to see her come alive.
I just love watching people develop and grow as dancers and seeing their progression from like not being the best but then developing to be the best that they can. It's just amazing.
Apparently, according to my mum, I was the shyest little girl in the world. So to combat this shyness, she tried to take me to dance classes. And I say tried because she tried 3 times and I absolutely refused to join in. And it was at the age of 7. I came home one day and my friend had been going to dance class and she brought some of our trophies in that she'd won and things. And so then I suddenly kind of thought, dancing. So I went home and asked my mum if I could go to dance class, and she said, no way. She says, you've embarrassed me enough. You're not going to dance class. And I hummed and hawed and I really tried to get my own way. And so the deal was made that if she took me, that was fine. But if the first minute I cried or got a lip on, then she'd take me straight out and we would never go back to dancing again.
Come from a town in Mid Wales called Llanddrin Wells, a very small population, 5,000 people. Surrounded by a collection of villages, and my family originate from a village that's 13 miles away, which has got a really, really tiny population. So, feral childhood. In many ways, I was academic as a child. So, in math and English, I was set ones and I was bright, but I found it really dull. I just didn't find classroom environment very good. The PE department was my place I went to. Every lunch break, after school, every PE lesson I could get into, I was just doing all of it.
So very excited little girl, went off. It was a Friday night. We walked there to Peterlee Leisure Centre, to the local dance school, and I was absolutely terrified. But I had this deal with my mum and I wasn't going to cry and I wasn't going to let her down, and I got through my first dance class and I loved it, and that was the beginning of a lifetime.
And every waking hour from about the age of 12 to 18, I played every sport in the day. And it was time in my life, and you know, that I just wanted that to, I think going away to PE college to be a teacher was my way of trying to make that continue.
Kind of always knew inside that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a dancer. And I used to tell my mum this, and she would say, don't be silly. You have to go to Royal Ballet from the age of 2 to be a dancer. Don't be silly, you'll never do that. You be an accountant or a secretary, that's good, because my dad was an accountant, so they were really trying to push me into that area. There was something inside just telling me, no, I could never do anything like that. I can't sit still for long enough. I've got to be on the move. I'm a physical person, not a sitty down person. So the fact that I didn't have to talk and I could communicate through a different way physically, that seemed to just fit with me.
When I was playing sports, basically when I was moving, when I was doing something kinesthetic, there was nothing else in the world. It was just me and that sport and my teammates, depending on what sport it was. And maybe that's what transcends into the dance. When I'm moving, when I'm just doing that, that's the world stops and nothing else happens and matters.
And I just found where I belonged. Just, I suppose, without knowing then, just building confidence that I could do something, and I enjoyed it, and yeah, I was pretty good.
I think Best Foot Forward is a fantastic example of how they have adapted programme that they've run for many years to in a way challenge themselves and challenge the staff. And I think part of that is about the chemistry between Martin and Tess, desire by Tess to push the work artistically, and the work that Martin does to create some of the opportunities to allow us to push that work to its limits. But I think that risk is also what makes it so fantastic and so watchable. You have the most amazing feeling in the room from the audience, because there's such a lot of goodwill, because you have people sitting there watching their sons, daughters doing something they probably didn't think they could ever do.
You can't dance and not have a performance. You can't put all that hard work in, all that graft in, and then not show off what you've been doing. Otherwise, what's the point? You put yourself through all that torture, and as a teacher, you put other people through all that torture. There's got to be that point where you show off what you've been up to and what you've achieved.
So Best Foot Forward is really closely connected into where we began and where we come from. One of the first performances we ever did was Best Foot Forward back in 1999. And it's always been at the heart of what we do, because it kind of represents and celebrates the ability of everybody to create, everybody to perform, everybody to kind of have that moment on stage, if you like. So this year's Best Foot Forward is entitled Reflecting the Journey, and what we've done is go back over our last 20 years and think about all the pieces we've made, all the performers we've worked with. So myself and Tess, who formed the company, a long time ago we created a duet called Old Friends. So tonight's performance starts with that very duet. And then we're joined on stage by Mark and Margaret, who were the first two ever people to join our project called Moving Tide at the time.
We were quite late to the game. Joseph was at secondary school, really in the sixth form, and Tin Arts went in to do some outreach programmes, and it was very lovely. I've since heard the story that one of the Tin Arts ladies, Heather, went back and told Tess that she'd found a dancer, and he was invited then to go on a Friday evening to do Twister, and lately D+, which has really opened up his world of dance. And he's done the Best Foot Forward, and he's participated in two, and going to do another one, the U Dance programme that's in London this year.
Running Out of Time, that's what it's called, and it's about a feather, like a magical feather. Our outfits and makeup and paint, we're monsters. We like dance and live our lives, and then this feather comes and it's really powerful. And then some dancers like steal the feather, and then they say, "Oh, where's the feather gone? Where's the feather gone?" And like on the floor.
I love seeing how the dancers interact, the friendship groups. You go and see them do their technical rehearsal. It's just a joy, and I'm included. I'm just as part of. I do feel part of the family, just as everyone else. It's great.
And then I think as I do more of that, then my brain evolves to those ideas, and I get more clever and better for dancing for that.
So I do have this competitive streak in me, and it goes back to there's not enough of inclusive work around. So I want to put inclusive work out there, and I want to make it the very best it can be. So the young people are we make a pact at the beginning of the year and we say, right, are we in it to win it or are we just in it to enjoy it? And this year I was hoping actually that they would just say just to enjoy it, but they wanted to win it. So that, okay, so we know what that means, that we have to put a lot of hard work in. I'll be expecting 100% from everybody. I might get my crosshead on and it's just because I love you and I want the best out of you, and that's the deal. And we just went out there and danced our socks off. And then down to London was just amazing because it was at the South Bank Centre this year. So to dance on that stage, I don't even think the young people realise what a privilege that was. And to have the workshops in Rambert, and another workshop was led by the National Theatre Company. So to have all this experience is just incredible.
I've been involved with tin arts for like, I don't know how many years, but I've lost count. Dancing been in my life for ages and I love to dance. It helps me with my confidence and stuff like that. On the Friday afternoon, I go to EYD called, it stands for Emerging Young Dancing. And Friday night, I go to D+, because I got put in there now. So I'm kind of new. So EYD is like a special dance group for autism to what I've got called speech and language difficulty I have, and hypermobility in my ankle. And it helps me to communicate in my own way with my body language as well to help me. Brought me closer to dancing because I love it so much. Can't take it away from me. It's like a spider with a web. You can't take a web away from a spider.
So I thought when I got to sixth form, I'd like to go away and train to be a PE teacher. One of the courses that was available to me was to do a PE teaching course, and it had this and dance bit on the end of it. This kind of moment hit me towards the end of second year that I just didn't want to be a school teacher. So I went to my tutor and I said, I don't think this course is for me. And he said, well, the only option really is to pick up the dance bit and to carry on staying. There's a dance degree here, it's quite new formed, it's just started, but you could join the dance degree. You'd be starting from nothing and it's quite a gamble. And even if you did the dance degree, you could scrape a degree, but you technically as a dancer, you would need a lot more training.
I had to go to the local library and I started just reading about dance companies and kind of how I could get into that. So I did it all myself, and then at the age of 16 I'd found courses that I could possibly take. It wasn't the Royal Ballet, it was for people like me from little towns like Peterlee. So I thought there is a possibility here that I could do it. And then I went and secretly auditioned at Durham New College for a brand new course. It was the first year of their Performing Arts BTEC. So I went in there and got a place. There was only 12 places and I got a place there. So went home, told my parents that I'd secretly auditioned. They were like, well, you certainly mean business, so off you go and do it.
So I'm now 22 years old. So I applied to go to Northern School of Contemporary Dance, and I went there and they accepted me as what was called a fourth year student. So a student who wasn't going to do a degree like the first, second, third years, but somebody who was going to come and get extra training and extra skills by attending the college. So I attended the college, I went into classes every day, 3 classes a day, 5 hours a day, just to do as much technique as I could.
To be able to dance from 9:30 to 5:30, 5 days a week, it's just a massive dream. And then for that to continue and with teachers that are in our history books now, we read about them. And so to work alongside them was like, this is just not happening, really. And so every day as knackered as you would be and your body would be so sore you could hardly walk, but I used to get out and walk down, lived in Hare Hills, and walked down to the Northern School and just used to dance my socks off every day.
And that's kind of where I got my dance training. And then suddenly I found myself over that period of time, having been a PE teacher or trained to be, the end of a 4-year period, suddenly I was now a dancer, having never danced as a child. dance not being a thing. I wasn't averse to the idea of dance, and it's not like I didn't like it, I just didn't do it. Growing up in mid-Wales, there weren't any dance opportunities. So very, very late in life, by the age of 24, 5, suddenly I was then out of training, and technically a trained dancer, ready to take part in the dance sector, but that was kind of how I found myself to be there. Very unconventional, very not the way to do it as well.
It was probably the happiest time of my life, and I was dreading leaving. I didn't know what I was going to do because I felt like I'd been in this little bubble, and that how could it get better than this? And then I suppose it would be cruel not to say that that's where I met Martin, so maybe that also added to the best time of my life. So I'd had other boyfriends in the past, but they all kind of complained that dance was a priority for me, and I wasn't going to lie to them, it was. And a couple of times I got asked to choose dance or the relationship, and I totally chose dance because that was mine, and they might not be around in a year or two, but my dance would always be around for me.
I was actually on reception at Dance City, and Tin were based upstairs, and Martin came down and asked if I would like to do some work for them. So I agreed, because I knew that their work had a little bit of everything. So my first kind of weekly timetable was half working in schools and half working with people with learning disabilities.
They came into my school and they did a workshop with some young dancers. So from there, I performed with Tin a few times as part of their youth dance programme. And then, yeah, basically when I got a little bit older, just asked if there was any volunteer work and stuck around.
I guess I'm looking for good people who believe in good things and who have an ethos around hard work, but having fun with that work as well.
It's definitely work ethic. Can't lie, Tin Arts is hard work, and you have to give so much. So it's people who, they're not there for themselves, and it is no matter where you are in the company, you're always for others and never for self. And I think there are a lot of people out there with those qualities, and we have been so lucky that we have found each other.
Every day is different, and we feed off each other because we all have different ideas and see things in a different way. So I think that's why it's really lovely that within the team, we work with different people so we can understand where they're coming from, or how they might understand, or how they might explain something. I think it's just that passion to make a difference.
But for Tin, you do have to have that openness to, I might have a whole lesson planned, I might walk in the class and after 10 minutes go, do you know what, this ain't working? Yeah, this group does not work in that way, let's try something else. And you do just have to be willing to go for it, try new things, and try and learn how everyone who you come in contact with reacts, and be able to react appropriately to them, because each person is so different, and each person in our group will let you know if they like or don't like what you're doing. And yeah, you've got to be able to roll with it. I think that's probably what they look for.
So we both ended up working for the same company up in the northeast. And so we decided, well, we won't give our flat up in Brighton, we'll just stay at my parents', which will save us money.
I remember distinctly packing a van up in Brighton on a one-way hire, where we would drop the van back in the northeast, and it all piled up to Tess's mum, and we piled our stuff there, and so we started this job in Sunderland.
And then one of the dancers in the piece dropped out, and Martin stepped in at last minute, because obviously he was a trained dancer as well. And so we started dancing together and choreographing together, and then we just found that we had this magic, if you like, that we could really work together, and because of our relationship we could be really honest with each other about the choreography or when we were rehearsing things, so we didn't step back from telling the truth. We could just be really open and honest, and that just seemed to work.
So we just started to form this relationship where we were working together, making a dance. It happened to be with artists with learning disability. So in this really weird way, we'd ended up doing this mini replica of what Tin has become without any intention of doing that.
It was the first inclusive dance company that I worked with. That was a really, really scary thing because you're not trained at college for anything like this. And then I just thought back to, do you know, that girl from Peterlee was so lucky to experience Graham technique and classical ballet and Cunningham technique. These people probably have never, ever come across anything like this. Let's try it. What have we got to lose? And the benefits that I saw immediately was bodies transforming in shape. Dance vocabulary just grew instantly when we weren't talking in a wafty language, but we were giving them a real language to speak in. I could just see this massive change happening before my eyes. This was the niche in the market. The marketplace was saturated with dance companies not doing a great deal, living out of suitcases, not making a lot of money. And I just thought this could be it. There's a real need for it. I could make a living out of it, and most importantly, it's my passion.
And then when we thought, okay, this is the thing, this could be our business, let's go with it. We went to see a business advisor, and me and Tess talked lots about this, who generally went, well, look, you're a couple, so that's a bad idea. And dance isn't a business, so that's a bad idea. So you don't have a business. This isn't going to be a thing. But good luck to you. And so we are always very much like, okay, so that's your opinion on it. We've got a very different opinion on it. And so that's where it started, really.
So our first encounter with George was down at Arc in Stockton in an audition, and as soon as we met him and saw him, he was all hunched over and he walked in really cool like this, all right. But when he started dancing, I could just see that it's so much natural talent, and he was like a rough diamond. He was just really, as I say, hunched over, his feet didn't point. He didn't have control necessarily of his body, but you just knew there was something there.
Show people what you've got inside you. Sometimes we're a bit fun, sometimes we're a bit strict. Sometimes concentrate on dancing, make friends and dance together, training, all the exercise and
young man from South Bank coming in, doing classical ballet technique, doing contemporary dance technique, and he just loved it. And I think for George, he has a really severe learning disability, so his communication verbally isn't great. It is definitely getting better, and his confidence is definitely building. But again, I suppose similar to me, he's a physical person, and that's how he speaks through his body language. And he has just grown and grown and grown, and that's his thing. And his school teacher has said to me that if it wasn't for dance and it wasn't for Tin Arts, he'd probably be either dead or in prison now, because he didn't have a bright future before he came into dance. Becky is an amazing dancer. She's an outstanding technician. So complete opposite to George, where he was like rough and ready. She was this polished technician, but actually with the skills that a dancer needs, so the ability to improvise, the ability to just be you. Becky couldn't do that, so we've kind of nurtured that.
I like dance because it's a way that I can express myself without using a lot of words, and I just like to move a lot, so it's like a good reason to move and just enjoy it.
I think Becky now is starting to find herself, and so she's done work with Flex Dance. She's also done work with in her own right as Becky Parker, and has created a solo and has toured that.
Hunting for the Unicorn is about my journey with autism, especially when I was a lot younger, when I was still at school, and the difficulties that I had.
So although her journey's been kind of a rocky journey, it's had lots of ups and downs, it's been an essential journey to find herself, and I think she is now coming out the other side. Knowing who she is and being confident with who she is, and most important, really, she really likes herself.
We're reluctant to create anything which places people as other. The flip side of that is, why would we do something like Talent Hub? Why would we create a bespoke training program just for dancers with learning disability and autism? Because they don't have the equality of access, because we can't, at the moment, fling open the doors of mainstream training and make it happen right now. So they need to develop a whole new set of skills and behaviours and characteristics and attributes which enables them to then integrate into the mainstream stuff.
And just like I followed my dream, nobody said, no, you can't. I followed it and there was a path to follow. These people too have the capacity, it's just needed in a different form, and it's not there, it doesn't exist yet. So I thought maybe this is the next stepping stone, because here in Durham we know that, we appreciate that. Even in the northeast, people know tin arts and recognise that. There's only so much a small company like us can do. So we decided it was time to reach out a little bit further. So we reached out to Yorkshire Dance to come in as a partner to see if we could spread the way we work here at Tin and share our knowledge and up the game a little further.
So it was really exciting to kind of get involved with the Talent Hub. And now, you know, we're 2 years in and we've just premiered Helm in Newcastle. It surpassed all my expectations, and yeah, it's just, I feel like we're on a massive journey with Tin. I think Tin have got really high expectations of people, and I think whenever you've got high expectations of people, people either rise to meet that or get scared off. But because it's done in such a caring and welcoming environment, I think people do rise to those expectations. And yeah, I've definitely had moments with Tess and Martin where we've looked at each other and not said anything, but we've all just known that inside there's a lot of swearing going on.
Amazing planning, every detail was thought about, how to get a group of 10 dancers together. And it would also push us at Tin, because here at Tin I know George and Becky and I've built up relationships, and this was a chance to see whether we could still use that Tin magic to train another 8 dancers in the same way and reach a goal. So the Talent Hub was born to kind of do that and to speak volumes to the sector, to hopefully, this is the next punch in the wall, that things need to change, and they need to change in the offer of courses, but also how we train our artists who are delivering and our choreographers. Well, I don't know any choreographers who have autism. I don't know any choreographers who have a learning disability. So it's time things need to change. So here we are.
Our son, who's almost 11 now, was only 16 weeks old when he had his surgery, so he was tiny. And in this particular instance, I had a sickness bug, so I wasn't allowed in the unit. So for 48 hours, my wife was basically sat by the side of his bed on her own and felt completely lost. And the clown doctors spent time around the bedside making her smile. those little moments, now she still remembers that. She still would well up at kind of retelling that story. And those little moments, they are like truly priceless, offer those little chinks of light into a sometimes quite a dark experience.
We did the first 2 years and it was such a success that we sought more funding, and now we're in 2019, we're 13 years later of the programme. We deliver in Sunderland, Durham, 4 days in Newcastle actually. We've had the most children we reach every year, the most clown rods we've ever had. It's a thriving programme, and the beautiful thing of it is that it's there and it's needed at the bedside. We're not massive on communications and marketing. Most people don't even know it's a Tin Arts project. It's just, we don't mess about with it, we just let it be.
I see the lives that are touched by the clown doctor's presence in the unit. Just the hospital actually, not even just the unit. And this isn't just a heart kid or a heart parent or their sibling. This would be the staff. This would be just generally people around them. I see that, those little moments of light on sometimes a difficult day for those clinical guys. And then when you think about it with the children and their families, it is just little droplets of gold and magic.
Pleased to meet you.
And it's a beautiful thing that, and there are stories of sadness and there are stories of brilliance in there. But it's what's interesting is it's a great example of a program where we've initiated it, we've set it up, and we let it be what it is. We don't fiddle with it, we just leave it alone, and we just keep it moving as it goes.
It's very hard when you're in that fog to be able to see a future, see how you're going to get through it. And so I think people being able to bring little moments of light to that in the most sensitive way is huge. It might just be that for that moment you smiled. It was the first time you smiled that day.
So programs like Get Involved are really interesting because they're not dance programs, they use the arts and they use an engagement with culture.
It's been fantastic working with like the different customers, different clients we have. Like we've got an exhibition on where all our family and friends can come and view it, and then we're going to show them around.
I'm always looking for opportunities where anybody and everybody can engage in something and that everybody's represented. As a result of that, Beamish now have new volunteers with learning disabilities involved, as do Auckland, as do Bowes Museum have their own volunteer programme for adults with learning disability. So ultimately, in that locality, we've helped supported those venues to look at the community they work with and to look at representation across other communities. Hello, my name's Martin, I'm the Director of Tin Arts, and I just wanted to take a minute to give an update about Include Fest on Saturday 27th of July and why we decided not to go ahead with the event today. We couldn't deliver a safe festival, we couldn't deliver an enjoyable festival, sorry. Thanks for your patience, thanks for all your support. We're really gutted, we're really sorry we can't deliver the festival today, but I hope you understand why we made that decision and hope this video has helped. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
To be honest, I never think about our pupils having any special need. I just see them all as human beings, and I think probably that's the same with Tin Arts, that here's a human being who can express themselves through music and dance
And so when the lights go down and then they go up and they come on, everybody is working as a team, and you know, the interaction and the eye contact, and you can just feel the ripple going along the stage. It's just joyful, it really is.
We see our pupils in a totally different light. They seem to raise their standards and rise to the occasion.
I think very early on, the team, they get to know the child or the dancer very quickly. It's very special, and then the dancers want to do the very best for them.
So it's not about pushing disability in people's faces, but just letting them see how wonderful society can be and what a difference dance and art can make. And so for me, that's not about taking the limelight, it's not about taking all the congratulations, because I can start these things, but I need everybody to be on board to make them happen. And so it's the coming together, the changing it together, and being that family that I suppose I missed when I was just the performer and the puppet for some choreographer. I didn't ever want a performer to feel like that they have to be performing because it really matters for whatever personal reasons it matters. And for me to know that that person's there because they want to be and they're thoroughly enjoying it, and for the audience just to go away, maybe to make their own changes, maybe to consider their own lives, but I suppose just to have a positive feeling.
And so when you go home at the end of the day and someone has achieved what they want to achieve and has got that pleasure out of dance and experienced something really good that they wouldn't have been able to do without your help, that's when you kind of go, yes, what we're doing is really important. And when you get that feedback from school teachers or families and friends, when they watch what you're doing and just tell you how amazing it is, and explain that person's journey and said, oh, without you, these things would never have been achievable. That's what's really amazing and makes you kind of go, the hard work is well worth it. The challenges, yeah, it's all worth it when you see that side of it.
The vehicle we use is dance. The journey is more about compassion and connection with people and trying to build that, you know, bigger, more inclusive society where people care for each other and look out for each other, and we have a best life because we've experienced love, and we've experienced care, and we've experienced tenderness from other people.
Not that many cultural organisations of this scale have 20 years history, and that's 20 years of making the world a better place for people with a disability. And I would say that, you know, up front, that's what we do. We make the world a better place for people who come here with a disability. Their lives are enriched by being part of this organisation.
The way that TIN know each member so well, that they showcase them to the very best of their capabilities. They do progress each year. They seem to develop again. And now with Joseph being, you know, in his 20s, you know, he really is a dancer, and he's grown, and it's wonderful to see. It makes us very proud.
So all the young people without disabilities who dance, they come here on a Friday evening or in schools or places, and they just dance alongside each other, and they recognise each other as human beings, and they recognise each other as creative dancers and children. And when they are 32 and they're doctors and lawyers or journalists or they're newspaper sellers or they're running a local shop, that's how they'll view society. But it's become their normal default behaviour. They're not having to kind of consult their access guide and go, what's this all about? So I guess that's it. The legacy is a different society, a better society, full of more people who are understanding, open, transparent, honest, and sharing about how to make the world a better place. It could be good to have some dance in it. I'm not worried about the dance bit, I'm just worried about the people bit.
Everyone is welcome in this house. There is room for everybody in this house. Warm smile, kind eyes, caring hands and tall skies. Come on in, because you're welcome in this house.
You know, it's clear that they've cultivated a massive sense of trust and respect and an honesty with people, and I think that's really admirable. That's what we should all be striving for.
I think Martin and Tess's work ethic really kind of rains down on everybody and inspires us to, you know, to work that hard and to be that creative.
Well, in here there are no walls to hold you back. There are only
Thank you so much for giving Joseph an opportunity to dance, and thank you for giving them the opportunity to many others too. Keep on doing what you do, because you do it brilliantly.
I'm very proud to be a part of this amazing journey. What I want is for Tin to be here in 20 years' time, still doing the fantastic work they're doing, still changing lives for people who come and work with us.
Do you want to dance?
warm smile, kind eyes, caring hands and tall
I like that Tin work with everyone and they welcome everyone.
Warm smile, kind eyes, caring hands and tall skies.
From the bottom of my heart, say thank you, because you are literally making a difference to lives of grown-ups like me and little heart kids like Seb every single day. So thank you very, very much.
There's the beach in front of you and there's a load of footprints on it, because those footprints represent all the people who've walked that beach before you. Our job is to walk in those footprints and around those footprints, and to make new footprints, but also to make some of the existing footprints a little bit bigger, so that the next people add new footprints, make new footprints, to the point where there are no more footprints left, because it's all clear, it's all open, we all know where we're going.
Thank you so much for helping me. Contact Creation, and keep up the good work and never ever give up.